I like to make jewellery and I love collecting different types of beads, so I thought today I'd show you how I draw strands of beads which look as though they've been dropped randomly on a surface. This would look great as the detail in a treasure chest. To make my drawing look interesting, I'm going to vary the sizes and shapes, create a bit of overlapping to add perspective, and shade them nicely to help each bead pop from the page. First I'm going to draw a rectangle, but you can choose any other simple shape. This will be the window that contains my drawing. I'm sketching out some rough guidelines in light pencil. I've decided to make my bead strands go from left to right, but you can do your own thing. It's totally up to you. I've started with a large, simple circle shape, and I'm making those beads all the same size. I want these beads to appear closer to the viewer, so I'm going to make sure most of the other strands that I draw later will be a little smaller in comparison. I'm going to make each strand of beads different. In this second strand, I've drawn some rondelle beads, which are sort of like a squash ball shape. Don't worry too much about drawing these too perfectly. I understand if you're a bit worried about drawing all these circular shapes. I used to be the same until I learnt a few little tricks. First, practice on a piece of scrap paper. Draw small circles or ovals and work your way up to bigger ones. Draw with a soft touch and try not to have your hand and arm stuck to your work surface. Lift it up and move from your shoulder and a little from the elbow, and your shapes will be much more natural and confident. If you're drawing by only using your wrist or fingers to move, your shapes will be very tight and scared looking. Varying the size of the beads on a strand will create a more interesting pattern. Now I'm going to add some line work. Use a thin black pen to outline each bead. This is your opportunity to fix up some of those little imperfections that are annoying you. Take it slow and enjoy drawing each shape. I like to imagine I'm holding each bead in my fingers and feeling its shape as I draw it. This helps transfer the image from my mind to the page and makes drawing any object a very enjoyable and relaxing experience. If you enjoy doing something, you'll naturally improve at it. If you're not enjoying yourself, stop straight away, get up and take a little break. But go back in a few minutes and have another go. I often do this and it helps a lot. I'm addicted to collecting beads and can't resist picking them up at second-hand shops or buying them online. Maybe you've seen some of the jewellery I make on Facebook and Instagram. I always tell myself that I've got enough beads and resolve never to buy more until I've used what I already have. But you know how it is, you can never really have enough. I've collected so many now that I have one whole desk just dedicated to making jewellery and storage for my bead collection. Anyway, enough of that, back to the drawing. When you've finished inking your beads, there's nothing to stop you adding more in the background if you think your drawing needs it. Just remember to draw the pencil guidelines first and then off you go. Your drawing could be totally covered in beads with no background showing at all, if you prefer. If you decide to add some patterns to some of the beads, such as stripes for example, remember to curve them to the rounded shape, keeping everything consistent. This all adds to the 3D illusion you are aiming for. Why not add some focal beads to the string? They draw the viewer's eye towards them because they're larger, have a different pattern, or different colours. I've added just one floral bead as my focal just for fun, but you can search for some more interesting examples and include those instead. I bet you have some beaded jewellery hiding in a jewellery box somewhere in your house. Have a good look at it and see how the light shines on each bead. Perhaps the beads have some texture. Feel them with your fingers and think about how you might recreate that texture using your pen strokes. These strings of beads have fallen on top of each other, so it makes sense that they would create a bit of a shadow on anything underneath them. This step is optional, but if you really want to make your drawing come alive, I would highly recommend using some cross-hatching on the beads underneath. These shadows underneath should be on the same side as the shading on the beads. You want to make these shadows quite dark as the beads are very close together. If you want your beads to look as though they are hanging in midair, you can miss this next step. But if you want them to look as though they have been dropped on a surface such as carpet, for example, you might want to add some additional shading. You can see here that I'm being careful to make a sort of wavy line at the edge of my shading, which mimics the same shape as the beads. Here I'm just drawing some short horizontal lines around each strand of beads to create even more of the illusion that the beads are sitting on a surface. Well, this Dangerous Doodle is almost finished. If you enjoyed this little drawing, I have another video I made ages ago which shows strings with just a few beads on them, which look as though they are floating in the air. This also gives quite a nice effect. Again, thanks for watching, see you next time, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of this sort of thing. If you're keen to see more of my Dangerous Doodle series, click on the pink Dangerous Doodle logo at the end of the video for the complete playlist. I'll also include all links included in this video in the description below. Happy doodling! That's enough of the bad art jokes, thank you. Cheeky snail.